Film Review, Movies, Music, Culture, Politics, Society podcast, interviews, movie reviews, and more. Live Sundays at 5:30 p.m. on Facebook at Crazy Dee.
Hey everybody, this is Lunell, the original bad girl of comedy. I'm here at the Link Promenade in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, and you're watching the Film Review.
We are ready with another episode of the Film Review. Movies, music, culture, politics, and society. We are the husband and wife team. I'm Crazy Dee.
Tracey.
And we review movies, music, culture, politics, and society. And do we have a great show for you today? What's up to Rosalind Maxwell? I see that she's watching us earlier. She gave us the thumbs up. And do we have a jam-packed show for you today?
Rosalind is family.
Rosalind is family. So before we get started, people, I'm doing a little promotions here, making sure that people know that we're on as we go on there. If you're not privy to the Film Review, Movies, Music, Culture, Politics, and Society Messenger page on Messenger, you need to ask to join that because we have in-depth discussions happening right there all the time with different people. It's a place, it's the Film Review, Movies, Music, Culture, Politics, Society Messenger page where we find out what's on your mind and we actually discuss with you what's going on, right? It's some crazy times that we're going in right now, and the conspiracy theory time is over. We are actually in this boy now. It's no more time to be discussing conspiracy theories. It's all about solutions, how to get out of the situation that we're in, and how to take it to the next level as I populate here, people.
Are we able to see the messages? I said I was going to have to put that on my phone.
Yes, we're going to be able to see the messages. I kind of, because, Facebook was kind of, but I got it ironed out here. I'm blocking.
We weren't able to read the messages. While you're doing that, should I read?
No, not yet, because I want to set that up, right?
Okay.
Let me see if I can find the person I'm looking. There we go.
Okay.
We want to make sure that people know that we're on.
Okay.
All right, people. So look, we are in a strange time right now, right? Things that you only see in movies, and we've been bringing you movies, and tonight's review has to do with Escape from New York, right? And before we get started on the topics and the black politics, we need to take time to give reference to a person who passed on, who was part of the Black liberation theology, right? We're talking none other than Joseph Eccles Lowry, and this is the official photo and the official statement that the family put out as I bring this into center, that they sent over to us to be read, right? So this is what we're going to do now. We're going to read this to you right now. This is the official statement.
Joseph and Evelyn Lowry, Institute for Justice and Human Rights, statement on the peaceful transition of Reverend Dr. Joseph Eccles Lowry, age 98. He was born October 6, 1921, and he transitioned on March 27, 2020. Our beloved Reverend Dr. Joseph Eccles Lowry made his transition peacefully at home at 10 p.m. Friday, March 27th, at the age of 98. He was surrounded by his daughters, held as the Dean of the Civil Rights Movement. Upon his receipt of the NAACP's Lifetime Achievement Award, Dr. Lowry had assumed and executed a broad and diverse series of roles over the span of his 9 decades. Leader, pastor, servant, father, husband, freedom fighter, and advocate. Born in Huntsville, Alabama on October 6, 1921, his legacy of service and struggle was long and rich. His genius as a civil rights advocate dates to the early 1950s, when he headed the Alabama Civic Affairs Association, which led the movement to desegregate buses and public accommodations. In 1957, with friend and colleague Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., he was a co-founder of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. He served as vice president from 1957 to 1967, chairman of the board from 1967 to 1977, and as president and chief executive officer from 1977 to 1998. To continue his legacy and promote nonviolent advocacy among future generations, the Joseph E. Lowry Institute for Justice and Human Rights was founded in 2002 at Clark Atlanta University. The institute was later renamed to include and honor Dr. Evelyn Lowry, his beloved partner in marriage and the movement for 67 years. Calling on his over 40 years as pastor, and in his inimitable style, Dr. Lowry delivered the benediction on the occasion of President Barack Obama's inauguration as the 44th President of the United States in 2009. Later that year, President Obama awarded him the nation's highest civilian honor, the Presidential Medal of Freedom, in recognition of his lifelong commitment to the nonviolent struggle for the causes of justice, human rights, economic equality, voting rights, peace, and human dignity. Please pray and respect the privacy of the entire Lowry family during this difficult time. The family will not be conducting interviews during this grieving period.
So that's the official statement from the Lowry family, from the Institute.
Yes.
And so we're going to take a moment of silence for a freedom fighter, a true freedom fighter, a person who believed in the black liberation theology.
Yes.
All right, and we talked about that. So even if there is disagreement about in the direction in which it went, this man was on the front line and often, many times, put his life on the line.
Yes.
And so we're going to take a moment of silence, and we'll be right back to honor Joseph Echols Lowry.
Yes.
All right, people. So we're back. You know, you always have to take that because, you know, we talk about feckless leadership, and then we talk about people who actually made a difference, who actually put their bodies on the line. And the people from that period did. And it's always, we can always look at it in hindsight and say, oh, this led to this, that led to that. But in the end, we wouldn't have gotten as far as we did. And for him to be leaving at this time, transitioning from this side of heaven over to the other side, as all of this is going on, as they have basically gutted the one really picked up this. So these are things that we're going to be talking about tonight, along with how come, why don't people heed warnings? This coronavirus is happening, and how come people aren't heeding the warnings, right? And so we're going to go through that. And just so happened, when I came up with this topic earlier in the week, just so happens that CNN came out with a article, you know,
Okay.
I can tell you that CNN is doing better work as in print over the internet than they're doing with their talking heads. Mm-hmm. So I would tell you that because their talking heads seem to be angry. Mm-hmm. They seem to be angry at Trump.
You know what? I think these television stations, right, mm-hmm. the media in general, mm-hmm. most Americans, we were, working, some were working, people's kids, school, constantly on the move, right?
Right.
So we kind of relied on the information they fed to us.
Right.
But now with this virus, mostly everyone, is at home. That's watching the news. So we're able to compare now.
Right.
We're able to actually watch the press conferences.
Right.
And listen to what was said. Mm-hmm. And then so when you turn over to the stations and the media, they're reporting the opposite of what you just heard.
Exactly.
So they need to, now it's time to tell the truth. Because now that we're all at home, we have time to read.
We have time to read.
And to watch these different press conferences. So you can't lie to the people anymore, because now we're at home watching it ourselves. And we know, that's just like earlier, we're like, okay, we just heard the conference and he said this in the conference. Now, why are we switching over to this station and this reporter is saying the opposite? Mm-hmm. So do they think we're stupid?
So Ray Carlisle.
Hey, Ray.
We are
Ray's family too.
We are simulcasting.
Right.
On YouTube.
Right.
On a certain social media site, doesn't want to be advertised, and also we're on Blog Talk 213-943-3358. That's 213-943-3358 if you want to chime in or write your comments, and we will read them over the air, right? So Ray Carlisle says they covered it, the blood of Jesus. They covered it, the blood of Jesus. So I don't know if we can expound upon that so we can have a response for that, right? So look, there's a lot going on. Right? There's a lot going on. People are passing away. Right? A lot of the heavies are passing away. And it doesn't seem like there are people there who are ready to take on the mantle to move forward, right? So it's really just strangeness going on, right? As we see, because Joseph Lowry knew how to kick it, man. He knew how to kick the civil rights thing.
The Reverend Doctor, he dedicated his life, right, to helping his people. Right?
Right.
Him and his wife.
Yeah,
So we have this going on right now with this virus, and people can't even stay in a freaking house, these few days to let this whole virus thing pass over. Like I've seen on the internet, like the block parties. And I'm like,
At the beach.
And I mean, so many different functions and stuff in them, but yet you see like all the spread is happening. Like, and people are losing their lives. So I'm like, gosh, we have people who dedicated their lives, during the civil rights movement, their lives, right? And their lives were threatened, as well as their family members. And you people can't just stay out the damn streets for a couple of days.
Got it. Ray Carlisle says they're covered in the blood of Jesus.
Right.
In the blood. That's why no one takes it seriously. Okay. Let's go through that for a minute as we're in the blurb section of the film review, right? So look, Jesus already saved you. He stretched out on the cross and he saved you, right?
Okay.
When Jesus comes back this time, he's not coming to save you.
Right.
He's coming to judge you.
Right.
Let's say it again so it can be clear.
Okay.
Jesus stretched out the cross and said it was done.
Okay.
Closed his eyes and boom.
Right.
It was done.
Okay.
He's the great interceder.
Okay.
Who intercedes on our behalf because God couldn't figure out why his creations couldn't follow his laws.
Okay.
So he had to come down in the form. He had to actually be born through the womb of a woman and come out and experience life from 0 to 33.
Right.
Thus, he could then feel
Right.
what was going on. So, thus, Jesus is the great interceder for us, right? So, Jesus, when he was on the cross, his blood, he shed his blood, and he saved everyone. But when he comes back this time, he's coming back to judge those. You know, because you're supposed to hear the word, and then you're supposed to act accordingly. And if you don't hear the word, and boom, boom, boom. So it would behoove me, if we are creations of God, then we would do everything to make sure that though we're covered because we're saved by him if we follow the rules. Then if we found out why, and he's the great interceder, and he intercedes on our behalf. But after that, he's coming back to judge. Now the guillotines are coming out, people. Chapter, not Revelations, but Revelation. Chapter 20, verse 4. The guillotines are coming, people. We are in the middle. We are in what they have talked about. All the conspiracy theories can just drop to the wayside. We are in it. We are talking about solutions, because there is a spiritual side, but we are still in the human side of this, on this side of heaven, and we need solutions, right? So it's very important that we come up with some solutions. This is good to say that we're covered in the blood. It's all good. 213-943-3350. It's all good to say that, right? But the reason why people don't take this seriously is more sinister. Some of that leads into that, and that article from CNN talks about it. So it's kind of what Ray is saying is true, because they feel that they're covered in the blood and that, but the blood, you've already been saved. You just have to follow the rules. If you don't follow the rules, when he comes back this time, he's coming to judge you. So we can leave that right there. Now, so let's go through some common sense things that we need to look at, being that we are creations of God. Since this is where the topic goes, we'll run there. So let's start with our governor in Las Vegas. Sisolak. Sisolak has begun to revoke business licenses of businesses who have stayed open, non-essential businesses that have stayed open. He has, at this point, by the time this article was written right here, he has suspended 14 business licenses, right? Because the people seem to not want to heed the warning. What was the White House's 15-day plan, the Trump 15-day plan? For those who may have been reading the news reports of the different outlets that deal in politics and not writing the story correctly. What they were talking about was 15 days before the virus came on top of the United States. They could tell by the modeling, by how it started in China, and how it moved, in Italy, how it moved, and how it got on top of it, that it was like 15 days out from being on top. Now you're gonna only get this here because the other outlets are about being sensational and talking conspiracy theories, or they're political and they don't want to see Trump. And in the spirit of Joseph, we're going to go this way. There we go. In the spirit of Joseph Eccles Laurie, we're only going to bring the truth here on the film review, movies, music, culture, politics, society, by the facts that have been put out, right? So by the facts that were put out, they said stay inside for 15 days. Only shop if you have to. Don't do anything. Don't go out and party.
Just
don't go to the club.
Shop, bank, what other institutions? They left the hospitals open,
Right.
but just the essentials.
Right. So they tried to do the virtues
Right.
instead of the sins. So they didn't say thou shalt not
Right.
do this, thou shalt not do that. They said they went the other way. They said you can do this, and this, but these particular things have to close for the betterment of the people.
Right.
That's what they were saying,
Right.
because the virus is going to come over
Right.
and sit on top for 45 days,
Right.
which kicks off what they're predicting now.
Right.
So now Trump has come out and said now, instead of doing the Easter,
Right.
miraculous Easter thing, that it's going to go into April 30th, another 30 days. That means all of the governors
Right.
in the different states are going to follow suit.
Okay.
All right? What is it? Ohio has turned red
Right.
on the map.
Right.
Louisiana is getting ready to kick
My
off.
God,
They
that just came like from out of nowhere. It
Right.
was, they said, with the governor of Louisiana said that it could have been because of the the Mardi Gras.
The Mardi Gras.
He blamed
right? And Essence was still talking about still having the Essence Festival in July. They were still talking about it.
It's crazy.
Right? So, I mean, it's really crazy in the blurbs of what's
Right.
happening this week,
Right.
right? So, the political media, because that's what you have to label them now as,
Right.
political media.
Right.
The political media
Right.
is misreporting what's being said in the conferences.
Right.
You can't go against the president but then still be for the people around them, because they serve at the pleasure of the president, and obviously they don't find anything wrong in what he's saying because they haven't totally gone against what he's saying, right? So he's looking at the people, right? And on the film review, movies, music, culture, politics, society, messenger page on on that certain social media page, right? Site, we're not gonna say the name. We talked about that, and I asked the question: are you prepared? Will you be able to survive 18 months? For people who don't know what 18 months is, 18 months is a year and a half to 2 years shut down because of the novel COVID-19 coronavirus. Would you be able to survive for 18 months, that's a year and a half, to 2 years, like what the scientists want, to shut down the whole globe? They don't want to have anything, nothing working, no jobs, no nothing. Stay inside, stay in your homes. You know what I'm saying? And so we got into that discussion a little bit, and really people don't really realize that America is a capitalist country. In most countries, even if they're not capitalist, they still have some kind of form of socialism, they have some kind of form of economic structure that helps the money still flow to help the people, right? So if you're capitalist system is earn to spend. Earn to spend. That's what a capitalist system is. If no one is earning to spend, then, well, certain processes is going to cut off. Now, for those who... Now, people may disagree with me, and feel free to disagree with me, right? But the way that America is set up now, it is basically a Ponzi scheme as far as Social Security is concerned, right? So because the people who were so into fiscal responsibility and they really wanted to gut that, pretty much the younger people who are working pay into Social Security for the older people, right, who have retired, the baby boomers. The baby boomers were a big hit, but at the same time, to me, in my opinion, the baby boomers were irresponsible because a lot of them were in the free love and the drugs and all that, and they didn't get a start into working. Plus, certain people who were conservative got into seats and started cutting the safety net out. And so now it has become a Ponzi scheme. And a Ponzi scheme, you can see the definition up here. A form of fraud in which belief in the success of a non-existent. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's turn it down. A non-existent enterprise is fostered by the payment of quick returns to the first investors from money invested by later investors. Right? So in other words, we're investing into the Social Security, right? We're investing into the Social Security, and that would be a Ponzi scheme. What's going on with Scott? I see the Scott is watching. That would be a Ponzi scheme, right? Even though they're not going to tell you that, but we're investing in to make sure that the older people, because actually actually each generation by how Social Security is supposed to have worked originally was to pay in for their own retirement. That's how it was set up. But those people who kept cutting the safety net and trying to cut and trying to pull money out, trying to collapse it because they thought like what they say now, a socialist system. Social Security is socialist. It could never be democratic socialism. They wanted to cut it. So now we pay in. So when you see Dr. Burks talk about that the generation now, which is the largest generation since the baby boom generation, which is the millennials and the Z generation is coming up. They are now getting sick. What happens in coronavirus when they get sick? It scars up your lungs and your kidneys. Right? They don't tell you that. Your liver. Everything. Right? It scars it up, right? So you're not going to be able to breathe. You're not going to be able to work. Do you understand what's happening here? If a large number of people who are in the younger generations catch this, they're the ones who are supposed to work to fund our retirement. We work to fund the baby boomers and the greatest generation, the ones still around. We funded their retirement with our Social Security payments through taxes. Do you get this, right? So when Dr. Burke says the younger generation, we're depending on you, that is what she's talking about. You have to read through the lines. So right now we're in a Ponzi scheme.
Well, the younger generation, they're doing the spring break and having the block parties and not really taking it seriously.
But the question is, not that they're not.
Not all of the young generation. I don't want to generalize.
You don't want to generalize.
Just the few that I've seen on social media.
Right. So. But then you have to ask, why are they that way, right? So so we're going to get to the reason why within the blurbs, right? So this is why the governors are taking these steps, because there's a lot on the line. There's a lot on the line that the media is just not telling you, right? Okay, so look. You know how people are criticizing Donald Trump for talking about that the virus came from Canada. It's the Wuhan virus. It's the Chinese virus, right? You know how they are criticizing him for that, right? And so the media is political with that. But here it is, a Las Vegas firm is suing China for exposing the people to the coronavirus. There's a lot going on in the blurbs this week.
Wow.
And you have to pay attention. You have to search out. This comes from Fox 5 Las Vegas, right? So you have to go search these stories out and look at what's happening. What's going on, and why is it going on? Why is it going on the way that it's going on? Why are people talking a certain way? So you got Sisolak closing down, basically revoking licenses, right? You've got this law firm coming in and basically suing China. And why are they suing it? Because this is, like one of our actors said on on the Messenger, the Film Review, Movies, Music, Culture, Politics, Society Messenger page, that this is a entertainment and tourism destination. And if China did release this, if it is a bioweapon, like many believe that it is, they are cutting down on the tourism. And isn't that what Mayor Goodman was upset with Sisolak for closing down? Can you please open it back up? So there are people that are in Donald Trump's ear, and he's hearing all the facts, and they're talking about this. You have to be fair about it. So look, we talked about this last week, how the federal law enforcement document reveals white inferiority groups discussed using COVID-19, the coronavirus, the novel coronavirus, as a bioweapon. And they said if they catch it, they only abide to pass it on to people, right? So look at this. This is from Yahoo News, right? We forgot to get a source last week, but Yahoo News.
Oh, I think we said Yahoo News.
I'm not sure if I did, but I want to say it again because I don't have it posted up here. But this comes from Yahoo News. These are reputable places of news, right? So this is what's happening, right? So let's put this together. If there's a group of people and they believe in, what is that term? Escalationism, where they escalate to make the society as we know it fall. And how do you do it? By disrupting. What will this do? What will this virus do but disrupt the somewhat Ponzi scheme of Social Security? That will be a disruption.
And passing on the virus.
And a whole generation of people who are sickly. That's a whole generation that has to pass, and then they have to have children to make another generation that will take on the burden of us, of the generation that's sickly, and they will be paying in, and then hopefully they'll have children that will be able to pay in for them and some of the people and some of us who are still around. So you see how this works?
So some of the stuff that we've been seeing, like people like spitting on the elevator dials and people licking on the rails, like trying to pass on this virus, right? The people delivering with the Amazon boxes, licking on the box. I saw that on social media. Also saw with the guy licking on the with the
we're coming.
I mean, so it's just like
so. Let's put this together. Someone asked, "How are you on the middle of coronavirus? Can you post this notice here?" I don't know what notice it is. Yeah, you can repost this onto your page. Lima. What's that name? I can't pronounce Spanish names.
Oh, okay.
I'm not good at it.
Is it Catiano
Lima. Okay. Hopefully that's a Spanish name, or maybe that's a.
We apologize for butchering your name if we didn't pronounce it.
So this right here is from an article, right? From Yahoo News, right?
Right.
So look, how are we doing in the middle of coronavirus? As well as can be expected under the circumstances. So look, so let's put this together, right? So we talked about this last week, right? Now, in between time, there have been a lot of stories that have released in the meantime as this is going on, right? So let's pull these different stories up and let's see what they have in common, right? Okay, so we have this one, and last week a viewer had said, what does this have to do with race? What does the coronavirus, when it's affecting all races of people? Well, when there's a certain race that's using it as a bioweapon, it does turn into a race issue. Okay, people. So let's pull this up real quick.
And that Yahoo article, that was based on federal.
In federal, they did the document came out. Now look.
The FBI.
All right. Look, people. Here are 3 stories I should bring Joseph Laurie down. He doesn't need to be
Part
in
of
the
this.
in the middle of this sickness
Yeah,
that we see here, right? So let me bring him down just a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, people. So look, this guy goes to the store. This guy over here,
Okay.
right? He's licking things. This woman right here spits on food. This guy is at the Taco Bell licking on the taco shells that people are going to buy food. Now
They're delivering to our home.
That's right. They're telling you to close the non-essential restaurants and keep open certain restaurants
Right.
that will be able to provide food to you, and then you can get it delivered through whatever delivery service that you use, right? But meanwhile, here's a worker at the Taco Bell licking.
Did they say it was Taco Bell?
Yes, it did.
It did.
Okay. You know, I
Okay.
stay bona fide true.
Okay.
You can look this up. It's Taco Bell.
Okay.
He's licking the taco shells at the Taco Bell. Now, now let's go back again. Let's put this all together, because this is what the media is not telling you, because it will be mass hysteria. What did the white nationalists say?
What they would do?
What they would do if they caught it, it would be basically their duty
to pass it on. Right.
Read the article. Let's connect the dots here. There's a videotape of an old woman in the produce section. Now, people are looking to get fresh fruits and vegetables.
Right.
She's in the produce section spitting on the produce. I didn't even bring that video up because we showed video last week where they were spitting on the elevator buttons.
Right.
They rub it where two different Caucasians
right.
were on the train.
Right. Licking on the rail.
Not licking on the lips, taking their fingers and rubbing their saliva on the rail. And you know how long on steel the virus lives longer. Someone comes in and puts their hand up on the rail. Yeah. They rub their face because it might itch or something. They got this.
Now, where was it? Because I saw someone actually take their tongue and touch.
That's this guy.
Oh, okay.
That's this guy. We got him this week. See, these are stories this week. You see how this is going, people? Why is this spreading so? And then we showed you the videotape last week of spring break and how there was a guy with a swoopy haircut. And you know the Aryans and all that, the nationalists and all that, they wear those swoopy haircuts trying to look like Adolf. Right? And he was filming, right? So here they are in the middle of this coughing probably. In the middle of the crowd spreading this. And all it takes is that some people are carriers, they take it back to grandma.
Right. But what these people don't, or maybe they don't care. I mean, this is affecting everyone. It doesn't matter what race or what group I mean, they're just like killing off everybody.
They're killing off their own people because their purpose is to destroy the society, to make the society not work. So that they can then institute Nazism.
So they just wanted to be all Nazis across the board.
Well, you know what they want. You know what they want with Nazism. You know what that means.
Right.
You know, they don't like certain people.
Blue blood. Right.
No, not blue blood. Blue bloods are a different type of racism. See?
Okay.
Now let's put this together even further, people.
There's levels to.
There's levels to racism because there are Ku Klux Klan who are poor. And then there's the White League.
Right.
The White League, which are rich. Right? So there's levels to this. Okay. And each one is still beyond, besides popular belief.
Right.
Beyond popular belief. Right. They still butt heads because people want to be rich and be over people, but they don't necessarily want to get into destroying something that's going to make them equal to the people who they go out there and say, put on your hoods and victimize these people. They don't want to do that. So look at this, people. You have to put all of this together, right? Mm-hmm. So the media will not tell you. They will not tell you that this is going on because it will be mass hysteria, because they're not just hitting at just black people or whomever. They're not just hitting at them. They're hitting at their own people because they say, hey, So put it all together now. Dr. Burke says that we're counting on the generation. It's the largest generation since the baby boomers to take this forward and work. Here's a group of people who say we're going to topple this society and make it dysfunction so that we can institute a new form. So they're going out and doing this. These things that we're seeing in the media are not by happenstance, right? This is actually happening. So why is this spreading so much? Because one, the people who are doing this, they will say, come on, they seem like the everyday nice guy. Okay. Remember that movie about the serial killer? He had on glasses, and the white women came on the media and said they were so afraid of because he looked like a everyday nice guy. No, it was a movie. It was a movie about a serial killer, and he had glasses and he was blonde. And it was a movie that came out about in the late 80s, early 90s, and people were talking about, the white women talking about how scary it was, and we looked at it.
Because he looked like an everyday.
He looked like an everyday white person. I looked at it and say, he looks like the everyday slave master to me. So it looked like he could have been doing what he was doing. So look, you put this together, and you see what's going on, and the media cannot tell you, why is this spreading? Because the people are out there saying, come on, buddy, let's go to the party. And while they're walking around, they're touching people. And they're touching people's faces. And they're laughing with the ladies. And they're kissing them. And they're coughing and doing whatever. And getting in the water and doing whatever. It's clever. And people are coming back. And this generation is coming up now. This the largest generation since the baby boomers is supposed to take this on. Will be crippled. Which will destabilize the society, which means that they win.
Yeah, I don't think people realize how
sinister.
Well, yeah, and how this is just affecting the entire system. Like for those that are retired, can be affected by this. Like today, everything could stop now for everyone.
Everything could stop
for everyone.
Everyone.
So it's just like this needs to be taken seriously, and I don't know if everybody's taking it seriously. Well, but then again, you have groups of people who are intentionally passing on this virus, because we're ordering food.
No, we're not.
We're not. we're not.
People are ordering thinking food. That's a trustworthy way.
Right.
And here's the guy licking on the taco shit.
You don't know who's putting your food together.
What they believe.
Right. And then you go and you're in a grocery store and you're thinking you're getting your fruit and vegetables and stuff. And then, meanwhile somebody has spit on it, and then people are ordering packages and then just like the guy licking on the box. From Amazon.
Yes, the dude from Amazon spitting on the package.
Spitting on the package.
The people had the doorbell that had the video camera, and that's the only way they would have caught this guy, right?
So it's just crazy, and that's why this, virus is spreading so quickly, because you have people who are intentionally passing this virus on. It's sick.
It's sick. So people. Which brings us to the American black politic, right? So look, we told you back about a couple of months ago about the court case 1865 Civil Rights Act, Section 1981. Everybody was, I think that sometimes people have a jealousy of people who are successful. I'm going to say that first. This is true. People have a jealousy of people who are successful.
So with the whole Byron out,
none more than American blacks. We have a disdain against people who are successful. We have a disdain. It's just the way that it is, right? It's just the way that it is. You can't cut it any other kind of way. It's the way that it is. And they have a disdain against people who are successful. Okay. Right? So when Comcast challenged the validity of the 1866 Civil Rights Act that Byron Allen's lawyers had found that was a seldom used law, but was still in the books that all of the other civil rights laws are based on. 1964, 1965, 1968. There was a law that talked about that you could prove discrimination, that you could take people to court and prove discrimination to take care of fair housing, contracts. You know what I'm saying? That a black person could take there and say that they were being discriminated against. Now, since the ruling came down, this is what's happening. When we say that it has basically been gutted, and I know there were some people who disagreed with me on this and left the messenger page over it, but this is true. When you have to now prove 100% beyond doubt, 100%, not 75%, not 99%, but you have to prove that their intent was to discriminate against you because you are American black. You have to prove that. 100%. You can't be anything. Lawyers won't even take your case to court. What was this about? This was about land disputes. It was about contracts. It was about all of the things that make you whole as a citizen in America. And people blew it off. They said, oh, that's just that Byron Allen, he's rich. That's a rich man's problem. Oh, they just blew it off. They blew it off. They said all kinds of things. They blew it off. Well, that came back. And the Supreme Court in March, no one even noticed. Last week. That's end of last week. They came back and they gutted it.
But the thing about it is that what people don't realize, but people don't really care until it affects them, sadly. A lot of people are like that, So, but it's kind of like, well, then you don't have a case against like ageism, because once that was gutted, like there's no standing. Sexism. So like in LGBTQIA, like for all groups, like for all minorities, blacks, Latinos, Asians, like nobody has any standing anymore.
That's right.
Women, so
they let this be gutted. Which means that that's a civil rights law. So
everyone should have been coming together. They kind of left it out, kind of like, okay, well, that was just a black people thing. But no, it affects everybody. So everybody should have come together on this. So now it's just like nobody has any standing against a corporation. But then again, so the Supreme Court. So we figured Clarence Thomas wasn't going to do anything. But then you have
Sonia Sotomayor.
And then
appointed by
President Obama.
Black president. Well, he was black, but he wasn't American.
And Ruth Ginsburg,
RBG, both of them a unanimous decision.
How did they vote against this? So I mean, it's crazy.
But as it goes, all of those various immigrant groups that are using civil rights, using the gains that people like Joseph Eccles Laurie fought for, who use it, it affects you too. It's going to come down the pike and it's going to affect you.
Snatched from under everyone. And it was only just like a small group of people who were fighting.
And they were fighting amongst themselves at the court because 50 had sent some people out there that was fighting for stars, fighting against them dropping stars and talking about that. And then the people who were strictly for ADOS and for the law were like, this ain't about no TV show. This ain't about no TV. How can you shoot yourself in the foot about that? Right?
Because everyone should have been coming together.
Everyone should.
Because it affects everyone.
So you see people,
Because everyone benefited.
Everyone benefited.
So everyone should have been fighting for it.
Everyone should have been fighting
But
for it. But they
now-
thought it was a black thing, and now
And
they're
it
going to
wasn't.
see. They're going to see. Because you see, the Asians are upset because they're being targeted now because, welcome to the club. They're being targeted because the Asian Americans here, and they want black people to look out. Were you looking out when the 1866 Civil Rights Act? Because it's going to affect you too. You know, because, anyway, that's besides the point. But anyway, how this ties into the corona situation, people. Well, let's look at it. The article came out. It just so happened to come out yesterday on CNN. Now, like I said, CNN is doing better writing than they're doing
On television.
news reporting on television, right? So the thing was, as I bring this up here, it says some people just won't stay home during a pandemic. 6 reasons may explain why. Right? So this is the same thing. Why people will not heed warnings. We were all over this. The Harriet movie was out. Comcast. It was a bum movie with a bum plot that made the black man look like the enemy, and the enemy was just standing around feckless in the picture. You know that wasn't happening, but that was put out by Comcast to put up a certain situation to be able to justify what was happening in the court. We were trying to put the pieces together for people, but people were not listening to get out there and fight. And so it's the same thing with this. People do not heed warnings, and it's the same thing with corona. Spring breakers crowding at the beach. Shoppers packed in grocery store. Well, you know you have to go. That's essential. But now since then they've spaced it out 8 feet. You know what I mean? Older adults refusing to skip church. Do you see what they're doing in India, people? In India, they are caning the people. Go back home. They caned this dude. I swore the dude was his father because he was whipping him off his bike. And then the people were in church. Now they're all congregated and packed together. Now, you know, India, have you ever seen Slumdog Millionaire, the movie? I mean, they show you the water that they bathe in. Everything is just so dirty. And they're packed in. They had all their shoes outside of the temple that they were in. And the authorities, as they were coming out, they were caning them and whipping them like you had a whipping, like you got a switch from off the tree. Have you seen this? Right? And they're gathering their shoes. The shoes are dirty. The atmosphere is dirty. And someone in there, in that group, believe that they are Aryan and they are spreading the virus. This is why the virus is spreading.
And then they talked about also how, like, there were a group, I guess like the maybe upper middle class, wealthy group of New Yorkers, because they saw the on the maps, it showed how people went from New York to like the Hamptons.
Right.
And how the corona just spread it up into the Hamptons.
It's spreading.
Instead of everyone just kind of like sitting still. This is not time to go to your vacation
They're
home.
telling people to stay in
because there are people who live out there in the Hamptons, just like everyday working people who are not wealthy, who are not rich people.
Westchester, who are not wealthy rich people, but they work out there. So look, they're telling people the authority every day on that briefing that they have about the coronavirus from the White House. They tell people stay inside because they know what they are battling. They're not only battling it being on top of us after 15 days for 45 days, where most now they're predicting maybe 100,000 to 200,000 and 1 million dead and 1 million sick from it, right? But they know what they're battling. They know that it's spreading because people are migrating and they're taking the disease with them. Some of them are purposefully migrating and taking the disease with them. They were talking about opening up Las Vegas for to finish the NBA season. And I saw people who were happy about that. And I looked at that and I said, are you serious? Because a lot of those New Yorkers are coming this way.
And they're talking about doing this.
They're talking about doing it. But I don't think they should talk about doing it now, because they
Crazy.
just expanded it. And this is going
Crazy.
way past. This is going way past April.
Yeah.
Are you prepared because of people's poor decisions to stay in the house for 18 months? That's a year and a half
Right.
to 2 years shut down. Are you prepared? Can you survive? Do you have the monetary fortitude to be able to survive that long while they try to kill this, because they want you to stay inside? And believe me, if it's happening in India, it's going to get brutal
here in America.
Right? It's going to get brutal here.
If the police back in India, if they're physically whipping people with these canes,
right,
what do you think they're going to do to the people on the streets of in America?
With the Billy Club, right? And so they know they want you to stay inside because they know that they're battling a group of people who are sick in the head that want to spread this, and people in their cavalier nature, as the cowboy is in America, they decide they don't want to go in, right? So
I saw on this woman who was saying she couldn't get back into the States, and then I also saw a guy, I forget where she was, but then I saw another guy, he was out of the country also. Now they can't get back in, but they went during the coronavirus thing.
That's
so
right.
I'm like, so this is going on. So Trump had already blocked off countries.
Right.
So, but you took it among yourself to leave. Why are you surprised you can't get back in?
Why are you surprised
Why
that
would
you
you
can't
even travel?
Now wait a minute.
Now
Wait a minute. Now the articles. Now I posted this on a certain social media site that doesn't want to be advertised. I posted the fact that Ice Cube on the album America's Most Wanted on a song called "The End You Love to Hate."
You go listen to it. It's chilling.
It's really what's happening here.
Yeah.
He said, for those people who say they too black, they go overseas, they'll be begging to come back. The one article was about a guy who went over there. He has a travel business, and he went over to Ghana after the year of return, which was, in my opinion, a money grab, right? It was a money grab because, let's just use common sense. If people are divided by neighborhoods, by who you know, and people be like, well, I don't really know you, dude. I got to get to know you, right? So why would you think that Africans who are divided by tribe, who don't even consider themselves African as a 54 state, there are 54 different countries with many different tribes within there, they battle against each other. Why would you think that they would really accept you? They would have to get to know you. Right? So they said brother, because the dollar was coming up. So he's over there and he finds out that the president has locked the country down. The African president of Ghana has locked it down, right? And he can't get back, because it costs so much to get back, right? He had took a one-way plane ticket there because he said, I'm African, even though he comes from America. He's African, he's American, but I'm African. He got over there and then he said the people were talking in twat and saying, no American, talking about the athletes, the NBA athletes, and looking at him like he probably brought the virus over there because they were having things. Another woman over in South America, Honduras, they were like, I'm American, but I'm Honduras. They went over to Honduras and they found out that it wasn't too nice over there in South America, in that third world country, and now they're begging to come back.
Right.
You see what's going on in the blurbs, and all this is the American black politic, because we have to start to think.
Because it's like, why would you travel in the middle of all of this, and why do you think that you would be able to get back into this country? Like, it's crazy. I wouldn't risk going anywhere on a plane, the air circulation.
So the CNN article, I have to give them credit. They break down, the psychologist breaks down the three types of people.
Right.
One people are the what they call, let me find it if I can find it, the over responders.
Okay.
Who panicked and bought a whole lot of toilet tissue and just stocked up in their house. Then there's the people in the middle who would be called the Goldilocks. They follow the rules. Then there are the under responders who are cavalier, who are cowboy.
We haven't bought anything.
I don't believe it. I'm young. It doesn't affect me and everything, and I'm going to go out there and do it because I'm young, dumb, full of...
So many young people have been hit by this virus. So many.
That's right. I'm young, dumb, I'm chewing on my last piece of bubble yum, so you know where I'm coming from. Do you see what's going on?
Yeah. Animals are being affected, right? Didn't they say dogs can catch?
That's right.
Yeah, there's been a death. A dog died from the coronavirus.
And you know when the dog dies, that's Caucasian man's best friend. You know they were uproar. This is serious now. Yeah. My Fluffy died.
I should say COVID-19. I've been saying coronavirus.
Well, it's coronavirus. It's novel coronavirus, COVID-19.
Yeah.
So this is real serious now, right?
Yeah.
So people, look, we put the pieces together for you so that you can really get a grip on what's really happening here, why things are happening the way it is. So now the 15 days are up. The models have come back, and they said the people didn't stay in enough, right, to try to beat the spread. So now it's going to start to spread because it was going to be over us. The 15 days was before the 45 days of it being on top of America, right? And they were trying to curb the curve. And people didn't listen. And so now we're going into something. And can you survive? 213-943-3358 or type it in on YouTube or another social media site. Can you survive if it goes 18 months? That's a year and a half to 2 years shut down globally. Why is it being shut down globally? We have to put all this across for you so that you can get a grasp of it. Why is it shut down? Okay, it came to us in the winter months, right? So it's like 6 months. We don't know how long China was dealing with it, but it's a 6 month thing in the northern hemisphere, right? Then it's going to take another 6 months because when the northern hemisphere goes to spring and summer, the southern hemisphere goes to fall and winter. So and people are still traveling. So is there really an alleviation of the cold season? The cold and flu season? Is there really, when you know that the southern hemisphere goes into fall and winter? We have to get it all out in this show, right? So they're going to fall and winter. So now, just like you know how Tom Hanks traveled from the northern hemisphere down to Australia, which is in the southern hemisphere, and was filming a movie, and he got coronavirus, or maybe some of the people who traveled with him from LA took it into Australia. So now, as fall and winter comes into the southern hemisphere, then all of a sudden, people are traveling up to the northern hemisphere. So now the people in the northern hemisphere who kind of have it kind of have it solved, have to help the southern hemisphere people. But then fall and winter switches around and comes back to the northern hemisphere. That'll be late 2020, 2021. Right? And then so now they have to fight the remnants of what was coming from the southern hemisphere to try to solve it, to finally stump out COVID-19.
Right.
But to be safe, it might need to go another 6 months into late 2021, 2022. Are you prepared from 2020 to 2022 to shut down for 2 years?
I mean, I was freaked out on the news today when they talked about, I was telling you about London, right? Didn't they say, was it like 6 to 8 months, maybe up to a year or something, that they could possibly be shut down?
So that's what I'm saying.
So I mean, that's just.
So we're looking at 2 years, people, because people would not go Shudder to try to cut this disease, so then it could help the Southern Hemisphere to lessen what was happening in the Southern Hemisphere. That's why when Trump is talking about helping other countries, this is what he's talking about. But they're not telling you exactly, and you really had to know geography to even know this. And as a filmmaker here in Las Vegas, you have to take geography. I've told you this many times before, because if you don't, you could be in the desert, and you know the desert is dry, but then there could be a flash rain burst, and what is an ephemeral lake, and you can tell what it is because there's an apron. You could be in the middle of an ephemeral lake, and it fills up and it drowns your ash. It drowns your ash, and then as soon as the rain is over, the sun comes back, dries up, and all they see is your bones and your camera equipment. But within geography, it teaches you also about northern and southern hemisphere, longitude, latitude lines, date line, all of it. All of it. It teaches you all of it, and you have to know that. So I doubt if most people think, I believe that most people think that when it's Christmas here, it's Christmas in Southern Hemisphere. And it possibly could be, but it's not wintertime in Southern Hemisphere. It's only wintertime here. But when it's wintertime there, it's summertime here. You see how that works, people? So the winter, the solstice, the summer solstice and the winter solstice, depending on what hemisphere you are, happens parallel to each other. And so people, that's what's really going on, people, with this COVID-19, and we had to tell you that and put you through and let you know all of that information so that you can take this and push this out on your pages. We're going to give it to you. And all you have to do, if you don't believe us, all you have to do is just research it. That's all. That's all you have to do.
I mean, because believe you me, you do not want martial law. These people keep playing around. How close did Trump come close to the other day talking about quarantine and what was it, New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut?
That's right.
Now, if they do that, but he backed off. So that lets us know he's thinking about this stuff. And then, so when we saw, it's funny because we saw the film Escape from New York before he talked about the quarantine. He talked about that because we saw the film Friday again, And then so he talked about the quarantine. That was was it Saturday morning? I think you told me about yesterday. And then he kind of, so I was just like, that made me really think about the film.
Which brings us to our film of the night, people. Don't forget to join the Film Review Movies, Music, Culture, Politics, Society Messenger page. Ask for it, request to join, and I will make sure that you join, because we have discussions there, Matter of fact, this is playing there right now. It's also playing on YouTube, and it's also playing on Blog Talk Radio, and then we replay on Spotify, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Podcast Addict, iHeartRadio. Did I say that already? Yes, I said it. So I need to say not iHeart, but not iTunes, but something like
Google
that.
Google Play.
We play on all. We play on so many.
It's like 11. How many did you say?
19. 19 different providers. You type in the Film Review Movies, Music, Culture, Politics, Society podcast, and we are there. And you make sure that you give us 5 stars, because we bring the information necessary to make it happen. So now look, people. Escape from New York, filmed in, released in 1981. We get the list of people. Released in 1981. let's just say,
You know what? I had to set up for the alarm went off.
I know. Let's just say that something catastrophic. You can imagine, right? This isn't necessarily the backstory, but you can look at the backstory, especially with what's happening with these white inferiority groups trying to spread coronavirus. You can imagine something catastrophic happened that destabilized the system in the United States and probably globally, but this story deals in the United States.
Right.
And the authorities finally got a hold back around it,
Right.
and turned New York City into a prison. All 5 boroughs into a prison. 50-foot wall, like how Trump said, build the wall. 50-foot wall. The waters around New York City are mined so that anyone trying to travel to get to the wall, to try to scale the wall, their boat will blow up, or they have helicopters surveillance that comes in and blows the people out the water, right? So you can imagine if there's something happened, they turn New York into the prison because COVID virus just ran rampant, and so we're best to send people who are doing crime into a place where it's do or die, bets die.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is what John Carpenter.
John Carpenter, that's right. John Carpenter not only made this, directed this movie, but he produced the soundtrack, which is interesting. Him and another guy produced the soundtrack. It's a great soundtrack. I mean, the music really goes along with the film, right?
Yeah.
So you can imagine, this is a film released in '81, dealing with the prison system that was created starting in 1987. So you could say something like 2027 once the COVID virus goes. I mean, we just giving a backstory, right? So it was formed in 1987, but the film takes place 10 years later,
Right.
in 1997, right?
Yeah.
So which would be 10 years later would be 2037, right? So let's just put this together, bring it up to a modern time, right? So this is going on, and the president's Air Force One plane is hijacked, and it's crashed in the middle of the New York City prison, and Kurt Russell's character, named Snake, is recruited to go in to get the president, and that's what really kicks off the initiating event.
Right.
Kicks off when he crashes into it, and then the dramatic need of the basically warden or police chief is to get the president, and Snake's dramatic need is to get in, get out before something will happen to him that is adverse. So it's multiple, because it's an ensemble cast, so it's a multiple situations going on. So let's run through the cast real quick.
So before I go into the cast, again, after watching this film and hearing Trump talking about quarantine in those areas, because like in this film, like before seeing this film, I thought it would be like a prison. Right, but what they actually did is like they blocked off the city, and the city is a prison, right?
The city is the prison,
which is similar to like, okay, he's talking about what he mentioned. If it's not under control,
right? His
thought was to quarantine again, New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut.
And what did Cuomo say? He said that would be a act of war by the federal government on his state.
So to do that. And after seeing this film, you definitely don't want to be like blocked off into a situation such as it is
Survival
in this film.
of the fittest.
Right, escape from New York.
It is possible in the situation that happen. That's why you need to watch this film.
Yeah.
You need to go back to the previous week, since we've been starting talking about films that have to do with pandemic and dystopian worlds. You have to go back and watch those
The first
reviews.
one, was it with Men of God?
Children of Men.
Children of Men. And then with 12 Monkeys.
12 Monkeys. And this week is Escape from New York, which is so apropos to go along with what's happening in New York City. So let's go through the cast.
Okay. So starring Kirk Russell, Andrew Barbeau,
Adrienne Barbeau.
From Maud's daughter.
Yeah, but you know how I remember Adrienne Barbeau is later at 60 years old. She had a daughter, had a son.
Oh, she did give birth at the age of 60.
At the age of 60, and
Sure
I
did.
remember I saw them later when he was 20, and her. But anyway, that's another story for another time.
Also starring Lee Van Cleef. Isaac Hayes. That was a nice surprise.
Let's go back to Lee Van Cleef. Remember when Lee Van Cleef was the ninja on TV? Mm-hmm. Like they kind of gave like David Carradine took Bruce Lee's character Bruce Lee had developed to make Kung Fu, and you know, after seeing Bruce Lee films, then going back and watching Kung Fu, because that's the only thing we would see besides the Kung Fu movies on 43 on Kung Fu Theater, right? But then really getting the chance to actually see a Bruce Lee film, and then learning that Bruce Lee had developed this, and then they gave it to David Carradine, and it was like, and then you had Lee Van Cleef, who was playing a ninja, and he was able to defeat the ninjas, and he was like, I mean, just like real slow, and then you see real ninja movies, and you're like, whoa, this is a little, what could you say, that would be a little privilege, a little privilege to believe that Chuck Norris would ever be able to really ever beat anyone. But anyway, go ahead.
Don't forget the other screen too, because we giving out the numbers. So
Yeah.
Okay, so Isaac Hayes, he plays the Duke. So when you see the film, you'll see how important his character
is. Yeah.
Ernest Borgnine. Donald Pleasance. Harry Dean Stanfield, Nick Castle, Season Hubley, Tom Atkins, Frank Doubleday. He was really scary, Frank Doubleday, his character Romeo. Charles Cyphers, Deborah Hill, John Coltrane Jr.
So many.
Yeah.
But you know who made an appearance as the voice of the computer?
Yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis.
You have to see this film, Escape from New York.
And Robert Lee Minor.
That's right. So you have to see this film. So I already gave you the setup for it. Right. The Air Force One goes in. It is hijacked and it crashes in the prison of New York City.
The city.
That's right.
Right.
All 5 boroughs. We told you. Go back a little bit, you'll see it.
It's a good story.
Right? It's a great story.
Because I'm like, okay, so this one man is being dropped off in the middle of the jungle, basically.
In the middle of a jungle.
Survival of the fittest.
And
he has to find the president.
In a certain amount of time before something detrimental happens to him. So dramatic need is set. Yeah. And the sequences, the fight sequences, the chase sequences, excellently done. The music is by John Carpenter, co-produced by John Carpenter. Right. Excellent. It goes right along with the film. Right. The way that the story is set up from the beginning with the computer telling the story of something. First, again, like I said, shot in 1981. Talking about something that happens in 1987, the formation of the prison of New York City, and then it moves forward into the storyline of what's happening in 1997 with the president's plane going down and Snake being recruited to go in and get the president out. And believe me, when I was a kid watching this, I think I was 11. When we went to the movie theater to see this. And watching this, I was on pins and needles. Is this guy going to get out before what happens? Right? And it's just, It's just an amazing piece. And then later, they came out with Escape from L.A.
Okay. I
Right?
haven't seen it.
Yeah, we have to watch that and check that out and also review that. But Escape from New York is so apropos. So let's go through it. Let's break it down.
Okay.
Storyline.
Okay.
The setup. 10. With context,
Right.
all the way into each individual character's wants, needs, and desires.
Right.
That's a 10.
Right.
The creation of each character, because it's an ensemble cast, has their own quirks,
Okay.
have their own endings in most cases. Well put together. That is a 10.
Okay.
The arc of Snake as a character,
Okay.
especially at the ending,
Okay.
is a 10. The lighting and the use of color scheme and gels
Yeah.
is a 10, right?
Yeah.
It's just an incredible film.
It is.
The dialogue
Yeah.
between characters, people who already knew each other or knew of Snake as a character in the film.
He's like a legend.
He's like a legend.
Like an urban legend.
Like an urban legend. And like 10.
Right.
The battle sequences, they stand the test of time. The explosions, the special effects, that's a 10. The ending, you can almost guarantee that what would have happened at the end of the film, and the harshness of it.
Okay.
At the end of the film, that's a 10. So this is the first time you actually seen Escape from New York, right?
Yeah, because I was mixing it up with the Warriors for some reason.
Yeah, the Warriors, right?
Yeah.
Come out and play.
Yeah.
But no, not the Warriors. And I would say, because I've seen the Warriors, and we probably have to go back and watch it again. I believe that the Warriors, to me, is a better. Excuse me. That Escape from New York is a better film to me than the Warriors. You know, we're gonna review it though. But to me, Escape from New York is a better film than the people running.
Well, both films are good, but The Escape from New York is good. But it just seems like that movie, I don't know, maybe it was so good that it ended quickly to me. Like it just didn't.
Which one?
Escape from New York. Whereas Warriors, it was just like, maybe because I was younger when I saw the Warriors, so I have to watch it again.
Yeah,
but as a kid, I'm like, it was taking forever.
The Warriors lags. That's what I'm saying.
24 hours.
I mean, it lags to tell the story. Yeah. It slows down in the pacing on it to me.
But it's a good story, though. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I have to watch it again. But both films are good.
I didn't too much care for King of New York either. Since we're talking about New York films, I didn't get. I was trying to figure out why is old boy who watched what's her name fall off the boat. Yeah. Why is he King of New York and what's his name? The second fiddle.
You know what? I don't even remember.
Lawrence Fishburne.
I saw it years ago, but I don't really remember King of New York.
Right, it's not something that's memorable. But people seem to love it.
Yeah, but what films are you watching? So let us, let
us know what films
on the
you're
film
watching.
review channel. Just
just type in on the film review messenger page, film review, movies, music, culture, politics, society podcast. Right. Don't forget to follow. Because we're getting ready to come up with the rating for this, but shameless plug. Don't forget to follow Crazy Dee Film Dude on IG. Crazy Dee Film Dude on IG.
Right.
Make sure that you subscribe to the Film Review Life channel on YouTube.
Right.
Make sure that you follow Movie for Life Girl on IG.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, do that, and then let me know what movies you feel we should review.
And we will talk.
We'll review it.
Correspond and talk back to you, right? So look, people. So how would you rate this film? This is the first time you've seen this.
I mean, I would give it a 10 because it was a good film. So that's why I said I don't know if it was so good and that like the action, everything from beginning to end, like it kicked in.
The pacing was
great. It ended so quickly, even though it was
rather long.
Yeah, it wasn't a short film at all.
It wasn't at all.
But it was so much
90
action.
minutes. 90 minutes.
It was so much action that it kind of like It ended.
Because, you know, a movie is only supposed to be 120 minutes. It was 90 minutes.
Yeah.
120, right?
So it was well written.
Right.
Because it just, like I said, it wasn't one of those movies that dragged on at all. It kind of like, he kicked the button. He did it, you know, I don't say by itself, but because you have to watch the film. We don't want to give anything away.
No, we don't want to give it away.
It was...
Because most movies are an hour and 10.
Right.
Which is 70.
Right.
Or hour 20, 80. This was 90 minutes.
Yeah.
So it was 10 minutes longer, maybe 95 minutes. It was 15 minutes longer than an average film, right?
Yeah.
So it's great. So for me, Escape from New York is a 10, people. So let me tell you this real quick before we get out of here, because this has been a robust show. We got through all of the different things, but I want to tell you this before we go, and I did not have this loaded up, so give me a second.
While you're loading that up, let's talk about, we talked about how the movie studios, they need to do something with these prices.
Yes.
Because they're taking advantage of people.
That's right, people. So look, the movie studios, for some reason, have decided to charge $19.99 for a new release. Now, I don't know about you, but $19.99 for a new release, especially when you can go to the matinee and you can get the matinee tickets, right?
Right.
You paying for something, right? Let's say you take two people and then you get the popcorn and stuff. All that is going to be around $20 with the popcorn, right? So you figure somebody pays basically $20, right? And then they see 10 of those films, they're paying $200, right? They're paying $200 a month to see 10 films, but most likely they're going to see more than 10 films. They're going to see 20 films.
I wouldn't have an issue if this was the same price like 6 or 7 months ago, or 2 or 3 months ago, right?
Because you see a movie for $2.99 or to $4.99.
Right, or even I've seen some for like maybe $5.99 or something like that. But then, for as soon as this virus hits, then they jump up the at-home pay-per-view films to $20-something, and I feel like that's taking advantage of the public.
And then how are they going to justify that
when people aren't working?
No, it's one, but how are they going to justify that when the movie moves on to release window to the different HBOs and all
Netflix
that,
and Showtime
and Netflix, where you pay or pay like Amazon or Amazon Prime, where you might pay for a film which is $3.99.
Right.
Well, how are they going to justify charging that much money?
Right.
So look at this. I was thinking,
especially for the sucky films.
Right? But no one is going to pay that money. But look, here it is. They should have really thought that out and kept it low, right? They should have kept it low for this reason and this reason only. The bootleg. We come from Cleveland, Ohio, right? Cleveland, Ohio. Now I don't know. New York is fine, but Cleveland, Ohio is the bootleg capital of the world, right? And the reason why my business was so successful, I was never a bootlegger. I had the original, but because of personality, they would come in and shop with me, right? But other than that, Cleveland, Ohio is the bootleg capital of the world. 3 for 10, right? So think about this. The bootlegger doesn't have to take his camera to the movie theater and hear somebody chewing popcorn or walking across the screen. They just put their camera right there at their widescreen TV. They put the camera right there, put the RC jacks into the camera. They've got top quality sound. The movie industry did not think this out. They have top quality sound. They're doing 3 for 10. They do 3 discs, or they doing jump drives or whatever. They're 3 for 10, right? They go out there, they sell it, right? They pay $60 for 3 films, right? All they had to do is sell 7 packages at 3 for 10, and they made a $10 profit. Then everything else, the rest of it is gravy. Right? Or let's just add in the cost of the DVD minus R's and, you know, the cases or whatever. Let's add that in. But after that, it roughly, after 7, let's say after they sell 8 packages, they made their money, and people are getting the picture, getting a better picture than they would get, and they're getting top quality sound coming straight through. Come on, man. The movie industry has to think this out. They have to think it out better. It's better for them to have, they're trying to make quick money at $19.99
Crazy.
with less people watching, when really it's the long game.
Right.
You're paying, you charge $4.99 and you get 1 million people watching.
Yeah, more people will watch it. Because there is still like a huge segment of people, even prior to this virus, who did not go to the movie theater.
Did not go to the movie
A lot
theater.
of people, right? Because of the movie theater prices. I don't know if they realize that or not. So what makes them think that
they're going to compound and make it seem like it's the movie theater?
And then the people who did go to the movie theater regularly, we're offended. Like, I mean,
because I'm going to sit at home and pay the price of popcorn, a drink, and 2 drinks, and 2 snacks, along with the cost of the ticket. I'm going to pay nearly that much for sitting at home during the coronavirus.
And no movie trailers.
And no movie trailers. I mean, we don't know how it actually plays out, but I'm just saying,
I doubt
we haven't seen it.
I doubt it there are.
Right.
But my thing is, and another thing that I'm perturbed about is it 4? Why they don't have the Bad Boys film?
Yeah, how come they haven't released
Right,
that?
Bad Boys 4, right?
Right.
So
Bad Boys 3.
Is it 3?
Yeah, it's 3 because 4 was getting ready to be slated to come out, right?
So why don't they have that on pay-per-view?
Why don't they? Right?
So I mean, because it was doing well in the theater. So you have a huge segment of people who, like I said, who don't go to the theater, and they would have purchased it from home.
They're trying to figure out if they're going to try to charge the $19.99 for it. You know, to be greedy. You know, I think that's what they're trying to figure out. But it's better the long game instead of the short game, because the people are going to sit up there and say, am I going to pay this, or am I going to be able to see the film for 3 for $10? Right. Three films. Now, people were watching films that were filmed in the movie theater with poor sound, right? Where they could hear people popcorn, people's cell phones ringing if the people didn't turn their phone, people walking past the screen. Right. Now, no one's going to walk past the screen.
Right.
And the sound quality is going to be through those RCA jacks. The sound quality is going to be A1.
Right.
Dude, y'all got you.
And
dude, you got to rethink this.
And seriously, like honestly, I'm waiting to see a worthy 1999 film. Cause like I looked and I saw the films that are out for 1999, and I'm like, no. Well, The Invisible Man we saw in the theater prior to. But like everything else, I'm looking at it like, okay, do I want to spend $19.99 for a film? So I'm waiting for something to be worthy $19.99.
Yeah, the answer is no. The answer is there's nothing out there that is worth $19.99. This is our opinion. We're the Film Review, Movies, Music, Culture, Politics, Society podcast, and we do come from Cleveland. And you know, if you know anything about a Clevelander, you know that we love to hate what we love. Just listen to sports radio after the Browns and the Cavs play, and you will hear the gripe. We are black, Polish, German people. We eat sauerkraut. Well, we don't eat it, but we used to.
We eat sauerkraut.
We eat sauerkraut, but we used to eat the Polish boys sauerkraut.
Right.
What is that? Slyman's deli. That hot corned beef.
Hot sauce Williams.
Whitmore's. Dave Surf and Turf.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So we ate that. B&M. So we eat that.
That's
and
when
it's
we used
in
to.
That's when we used to eat, right? And we're in the thick of it, and we love to hate what we love. So when this came up, we're going to show you how it gets over. Because like I said, Cleveland, Ohio is the bootleg capital of the world, and they are having a heyday because people still have DVD players, and DVD players are so cheap. They run to the store real quick, get a $99 DVD player. I tell you, in the 3 for $10, I got a pretty good picture with the top-notch sound from the theater that I can hear playing in the surround sound. Dude, you got to rethink this. You got to rethink it. You got to rethink Being greedy. The long game is always the best game in this. Now, people, I just released a new show. And the way it's going, it's a new episode every day. It's a new episode every day. Yeah. We got the first 2 episodes. It is called The Film Review Presents Crazy Dee Director. Not only do I show you how film is made, I show you behind the scenes, I show you actors. This is a homage to the actors, right? A homage to how to make a film. We actually show you through practical application how to make a film, how to light a film. You see all that. You see in episode 3, which drops tomorrow, you're going to see my jail play with lighting and sound to tell a story, my composite game, right? And I'm teaching you all this through practical application, right? And I'm showing you how the actors know their lines. Episode 2 features an actor that knew the lines, and we're actually playing it all the way through as if it's a play. We went through the blocking and the camera angles. My wife on camera 2, my wife is doing her camera game. You need to watch that. You can see that on Crazy Dee Film Dude on IG. You can see it on the Film Review Life channel on YouTube, right? You can see it there. You can watch it. So episode 1, episode 2 is up, and the way it's going, every day we're gonna come with a new episode of this, and we are teaching the next generation, and some of those who really don't know how to make film in this generation, and generations is 5-year, 10-year generations is older than me, that's trying to make film. The film never really comes out. We're teaching you how to make a film that is entertaining, that is serious, comical, but the theory of filmmaking is A1 on it. The sound quality, the picture, the story, right? The ability to show you how to block. It's all within practical application right here on the Film Review Presents Crazy Dee Director. And I have to give it up to camera 2. She is my production woman. Tracey on camera 2. She's moving the camera, baby, as if it's a continuous camera motion. You're going to see a lot of that in there. You know what I'm saying? So people, what you're looking at, plus, let me say this before I forget. Each one of them, when you go into the description, you can link right and actually watch the film. You can actually watch the finished film that you're seeing the behind the scenes of and how I actually made it. Right? This is great stuff to go then be able to see the finished film. Not, well, when's the film coming out? You just go in the description, click the link, takes you right there where you can watch the film. You can be entertained while you're in the house, right? And you won't be paying $19.99 for a film, and you will still get the same entertainment, people. So you go right here on a different thing. Again, the Film Review Presents Crazy Dee Director. Go there, watch this. You will be entertained. It is on the Film Review Live channel on YouTube, and it is on Crazy Dee Film Dude in the Crazy Dee Film Dude video IG section. You just click the little boat and it takes you right there. You can watch everything. Like my IG channel is going bananas with the different things that we have up there, right? That link to longer versions or to the films of it, right? We are the only channel on IG that is doing that, because we are about finishing, because life is short, because we knew this time was coming, and you have to leave your legacy behind. The people, when you work with people, you have to make sure that they're seen, heard, recognized, and appreciated, and that's what we do here over here at the Film Review. LordlandFilms.com, LordlandFilms.com, LordlandFilms.com. One more time, LordlandFilms.com. That's what we do, because we know that time is short, and how many people have worked on things that never come out, and we're in this time where we can't get around to do just that film, because you can't. It's narrowed down from 200 people to 100 people to 10 people to two people shouldn't be rubbing elbows together.
So definitely go to the channel, check it out.
And subscribe. Follow.
Right. Just like with this, subscribe, right?
That's right.
And excellent writing. Excellent cast. The acting is great.
Acting is great.
Great cinematography.
Right. And maybe I tell, yes, great cinematography. That's right. So people look. Maybe I tell that story one day about how when we first landed here, they had most of the producers here had black people in the back, and then as soon as I started producing film, quality film. Now there were people who were producing film. Some of it didn't come out. All of it ain't quality. But mostly, I'm telling you, too much on the nose. It was too much on the nose production. But they had the people in the back. As soon as I brought them out and put them in test reads where I brought them up front, and put them in films where I brought them up front, all of a sudden people. The person was in the back, they crop them up 69, bring it back up front, they bring them up front, and it's all grainy because they were back in the back, because they had black people in the back here.
What I see,
and they didn't have options.
Right. What I like about our films is we say we are who we say we are. So just when we review other people's films, just like ours reflect society, right? So our various films, we have a multicultural cast.
Not diverse.
Multicultural. People from all ethnic groups, races, everybody acting together. So,
and the content and what I talk about, my content of what I'm talking about, you will be gripped. I'm telling you, go to Crazy Dee Film Dude, follow. Go to Movie for Life Girl on IG and follow. Crazy Dee Film Dude on IG and follow. And make sure you just click over there to the channel, and you can watch the episodes, and then watch everything else that's on there. Or go over to the Film Review Live channel on YouTube and subscribe and watch it there within Crazy Dee TV. Now the playlist, we got banana playlists. We got multiple playlists. It's just bananas on the Film Review Live channel. We've got interviews with celebrities. We got documentaries. All of this produced, original content produced by yours truly, that believes in producing so people can be seen, heard, recognized, and appreciated, because life is short, and it comes down to times like this when people are in no motion, where you have to be still. But just because you be still don't mean that you have to stand still, and we are never at a standstill. We make sure that you are seen, heard, recognized, and appreciated. And right here, the Film Review presents Crazy Dee, director. You get it. Pick up some tips and some ideas, because I want to see the next generation of filmmakers actually be able to do it. And actually go ahead and surpass me, because what I've seen here in this city, I'm going to be brutally honest, that I just don't see it because they don't follow through. And so that's it.
Well, you know what, and before we go, what I am irritated about with this virus is, we were working with the kids,
Plastic cups.
Yeah.
I mean, paper cups.
Yeah, so it was just like, it made me think of it just now when you talked about the next generation, right?
Yeah.
And then the program,
Yeah,
that you were working with the kids. Yeah, working with the kids, teaching them script writing and how to use the film and
the
yeah, and
the
it's
digital.
just like a digital, right? You know, and it's just like this virus comes, and so once it's over, we'll be able to.
And maybe I'll tell you the story about the church one day in this virus. We're going to definitely tell that story one day. But anyway, people, this has been another great episode of the Film Review. Movies, music, culture, politics, and society. We are the husband and wife team. I'm Crazy Dee.
Tracey.
And we review movies, music, culture, politics, and society. And we will see you next time on the Film Review. And I believe that this is going to come up on time. And we will see you next time. We appreciate you.
Be safe and
That's
healthy.
Right. And definitely listen to the replay on your favorite podcast provider. Just type in the search, the Film Review, movies, music, culture, politics, society podcast, and we are there. Yes. The Film Review, movies, music, culture, politics, society podcast, interviews, movie reviews, and more. Live Sundays at 5:30 p.m. on Facebook at Crazy Dee.
Hey everybody, this is Lunell, the original bad girl of comedy. I'm here at the Link Promenade in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, and you're watching the Film Review.